Welcome to Life Science Solutions, a podcast series dedicated to the life sciences industry powered by Kymanox. Today's episode features Evan Edwards, president of Kymanox, who is discussing the exciting developments at Kymanox heading into 2025, the challenges and opportunities in the life sciences sector, and the trends shaping the future of drug, device, and combination products. Let's jump right in.
Hey everyone, I'm Evan Edwards, president of Kymanox, and today we're going to talk a little bit about what to expect with Kymanox as we head into 2025 and some of the trends that we're seeing in the life sciences industry. So happy to have you here. So I became president in May 2024, and since that time, we've had a phenomenal year. It's been just really rewarding. We've continued to advance in the life sciences industry with new logos. When we say new logos, it's new clients, new opportunities to work on a variety of different projects. We're getting more and more into manufacturing services, which is really, really exciting for our subject matter experts and our employee base. We are doubling down in our lab in King of Prussia at our site there outside of Philadelphia, and doing some really cool things to expand that, doing design verification testing and even preparing our ability to do preparation for pharma and biotech medical device clinical builds. And we're just seeing just excitement and energy. What are some of the disruptive technologies or innovations that, as we get more work with clients, as we talk to sponsors and clients, go to conferences and meetings, what are we hearing? I'd say there's probably 3 or 4 areas that we continue to hear over and over again that you continue to see even in the media, even if you're not in life sciences. One is targeted cell and gene therapy. This is becoming a huge area in our healthcare, and it's incredible. When you look at the lives that can be saved and impacted with therapies that before traditional medicine or traditional therapy couldn't make an impact, couldn't cure disease. We're talking cancers that couldn't have been cured before we had targeted gene therapy. And this is really, really impactful. And I think we're going to see that expand. We're working with clients on projects. I think we're going to see cell and gene therapy also maybe be delivered outside of the hospital or figure out novel ways to be delivered. And that's something that is our bread and butter, drug device combination products. And how do you put it in a novel delivery vehicle? How do you get it to the patient in unique ways, maybe even in different environments, such as a home environment? So we're really excited about CAR T cell therapy and the impact that that's going to have. It's going to be disruptive, and you're going to continue to hear about new approvals coming through the agency, both in the U.S. and abroad. We talked about cell and gene therapy, and that's one of the ones that definitely going to be disruptive. But one of the biggest ones I think we see in the media and here and impacting our industry, probably the biggest, are GLP-1s. Just incredible when you look at the market growth. Huge industry right now, and it is impacting a lot. And you look at some of the key players and their investments, it's significant. So we are actively working with many of these companies and starting to see what that trend. And I think that what you're going to see is continued expanded indication for these drugs as well. You're going to see obesity go into, neurology, go into addiction, and with that's going to come increased volume, opportunity, expansion for these companies. With that comes challenges. And that's capacity. So, I think about the third element that I'm seeing disruptive is manufacturing facilities, CDMOs, so contract development manufacturing organizations. We're seeing a trend and ramp up of extreme interest on how do you support parenterals, how do you support the overall supply chain, not just for GLP-1s, but if GLP-1s are taking up a lot of the supply chain, how do you support all the other companies that need to support with nasal, inhalable products, injectable products? So we're working with a lot of these companies. We're supporting them with manufacturing facility builds, with our manufacturing services, with validation, process, engineering, and planning. And we're really excited about that. And that trend is going to continue. And we're going to, I think, play a large role in it because we work with so many pharma, biotech, and med tech companies. And they're coming to us not only to support the development of their programs, but making sure that they have the ability to manufacture and eventually commercialize. Ultimately, all of these are going to get to patients' hands. And that's why we're here. Our vision is to support our sponsors and clients to make sure that they can expeditiously get their products approved because patients deserve better. And that's why Kymanox exists. So I mentioned cell and gene therapy. I mentioned GLP-1s and this huge elephant in the room that everyone talks about, the CDMOs and increase there. I think the fourth one, which used to be, I think, at the beginning of this year, the shiny object, the gold shiny object, but now is losing its luster because it's becoming more common, which is artificial intelligence. People use, AI is everywhere, but no one really knew what it does or what it can do. It started to get implemented more and more with companies, but now it's getting more into the public domain. For us in the life sciences industry, we see it obviously huge in drug discovery. We've seen it with respect to digital therapeutics and in many areas and on the manufacturing side as well. But that's becoming more prevalent. And for us, really important. We established early last year a artificial intelligence subcommittee, and now we have a center of excellence. So we are evaluating at Kymanox how to responsibly use artificial intelligence and the appropriate use cases, both internally and then eventually looking into it externally. But it's not going away. It's not a question of if, but when and how do you do it. But it is absolutely disrupting the industry in a lot of different ways, and we're going to continue to monitor that. And now you look at, iPhone and Apple rolling out AI as a part of their operating system. Consumers are going to get used to it. And once they get used to it, it gives people a lot more comfort. And I think that will play a role in how we strategically roll out and implement it, not only with our workforce, but also with our partners. Now, when we talk about artificial intelligence in the life sciences industry, we are talking about a highly regulated industry. So we have to be cognizant of the fact that, if we're dealing with patient data, there's HIPAA, there's patient PHI, patient health information that needs to be protected, but also cybersecurity is a huge topic on how do you responsibly store the data, manipulate the data, and ensure that it is protected in an appropriate environment. And these are the questions that people are asking. And it's one thing to be a consumer product like an iPhone or Apple. It's another thing where we're talking about data for patients and making decisions with respect to healthcare and treatment. So we're going to continue to see how that evolves and improves. And I believe that we will play a role in this discussion around how to use artificial intelligence responsibly and how to do it the right way, both internally and externally at Kymanox. So, when we talk about AI and some of these disruptive technologies, I always ask myself, how can we play a role in innovating and fostering innovation within Kymanox, but also to support our sponsors and clients? And I think there's a lot of different ways that we can explore doing that. I think we are literally in the co-pilot seat, not the pilot seat. Our sponsors are the pilot, but we are the co-pilots on helping to get their products from development all the way through commercialization and ultimately in patients' hands. With that comes a lot of responsibility, but for that reason, we get to be creative. We work on so many projects in a given year, hundreds of projects with hundreds of people, and that translates to a lot of know-how. And that intellectual capital can be applied. We take confidentiality really seriously, but we can say, we saw this work really, really well with one client, this methodology. What if we applied that creativity to a completely different therapeutic area or different process? And I think that's innovative, and that helps our sponsors respond faster, get projects done quicker. And hopefully for them, they see that as value added from a budget standpoint as well. So I think we're going to continue to try to be that co-pilot that helps them get products into patients' hands through regulatory approval as fast as possible by using our know-how and this Kymanox knowledge transfer. We are actually also generating intellectual property for our sponsors. And a lot of people don't know that. We have extremely talented engineers and subject matter experts. Many of these engineers are creating drug delivery devices, medical devices, innovation, and they become listed inventors. And we assign that IP to the sponsors, and they come to us and say, wow, you all have some of the smartest engineers we've ever worked with. And we said, we're really, really glad now. How can we take that product now and advance it further? And then we get involved with quality management systems or regulatory strategy or doing human factors work. So I love the fact that we get to empower our employees to also be inventors as well. And there's some stuff that we even work on internally that are generating intellectual property. So we are definitely on the forefront of fostering innovation, both internally and externally for our sponsors. So we are disrupting and innovating in a lot of areas for companies as well. We become their everything. And this was introduced by Stephen Perry, our CEO, last January, called Kymanox Hyper Virtual Model. And these are companies, they may be, 3 gals in a molecule, and they need literally to have, they don't want to hire 20 people, so they'll come to us for quality, engineering, product development, regulatory, be their human factors arm, support them on CMC and CQV. We become an extension of their entire company. And what's so cool about that, as you can appreciate, is we are helping innovate. There are a few companies just right here locally and a couple more that we are working with. We're doing one that is developing a novel infusion pump for sudden cardiac arrest, and we are inventing and developing the entire infusion pump and delivery device for that technology. That's super exciting. We're working on some emergency medicines for anaphylaxis and supporting companies in that area. Getting more and more involved with cell and gene therapy and even digital therapeutics. We are supporting some of these companies as an extension of their team. They truly view us as a part of their team and employees, and that is very fulfilling for our workforce and subject matter experts. They truly feel like as they advance these products through to the next value inflection point for these companies, that they are making an impact. And that's really also really good for their professional development and their careers as well. So I'm really excited. That's just going to continue. And of course, we're going to support our large pharma and biotech companies as well. But the variety of work and the types of projects that we work with, from startups all the way to some of the largest biotech and pharma companies in the world, makes Kymanox a very special place. So I think the largest role that we have as we head into 2025 is helping shape the future for our clients by getting their products on the market as efficiently and while still maintaining exceptional quality. That's the big role that we're going to continue to play. Some of the biggest challenges that our clients face when you look at it, aside from whether or not the product that they're working on is commercially viable, that's a very big challenge that we see, is the fact that it's a race against the clock. For some of these companies, it's a race against the clock for running out of money, running out of capital. And so they have to do everything they can to get to that next development milestone. And we feel like we play a really important role of doing that quickly and being responsible and making sure that they don't make mistakes or reinvent the wheel and have to do things over and over again in order to secure and retain their capital. So I'm really, really excited about supporting them, especially for our smaller companies. For our larger companies, it's different. There's a lot of times are capacity driven. They have so many projects they're working on, and they just need additional sets of hands, different knowledge. We live in a highly regulated industry that's constantly evolving. And we're fortunate in that we get to stay on the forefront of regulatory guidance, regulatory guidelines, what's going on both in US, Europe, and abroad. And so we see our clients, our larger clients, come to us and say, hey, have you experienced this? And our subject matter experts, yeah, we recently worked on a project, and here's the way that you should be thinking about it, which is really, really beneficial to them. And most importantly, just to have additional talent that are not just consultants. We don't use that term consulting at Kymanox often. We talk about professional services because our people truly are boots on the ground. They are truly adding value as subject matter experts and are working alongside our sponsors to ensure successful execution and getting their products through regulatory authorities. Raising capital is a challenge, and the cycle, how long it takes to raise that capital. Where I see Kymanox adding value to them is getting them to the next value inflection point faster, with focus on things that are truly meaningful to basically mitigate risk in their development programs. And once you do that, they can get to that next value inflection point. We have a huge Rolodex, so we do a lot of introductions, strategic partner conversations, even investors that we've interacted with. And I think that we're going to continue to make an impact on those smaller companies. For the larger companies, we see a lot of challenges in manufacturing. And I kind of mentioned it earlier, but capacity. Let's assume they develop the product, it goes really well, they get it approved. They need to think earlier on how they're going to scale that and launch that product. And that's not just on the manufacturing side with respect to the facility, the equipment, the process, but also the commercialization elements of it. So I always talk to clients about really making sure the commercial development and manufacturing teams are well aligned with what to expect. That means pricing and reimbursement strategy becomes paramount, especially in the United States healthcare system. You may have the best widget or best feature, but we are in a world where pricing wins, and the right payer dynamic and PBMs that come into play here really drive prescribing behavior and patient behavior in terms of what they're looking for. So thinking about those things and not just focusing on how do I get to that milestone of FDA approval as an example is going to be really, really important, and continue to be a trend. Thinking earlier, planning earlier in order to set yourself up for success. And I think, that comes with that is increased communication. A lot of our larger companies, we deal with a lot of different stakeholders. Company X, they have tens of thousands of employees. A lot of them don't even know each other. We work with a lot of different departments, and many of them feel siloed. And so we become a bridge for that communication. We connect dots and try to help them navigate through different departments, whether it's quality or engineering or commercial, to see if we can't impact their development program, save them money, and put them in a position for success. So I think there are a lot of things that we're going to continue to do, but the advice that we're going to continue to give is we're here as a trusted advisor, as a trusted partner, and we genuinely believe that we have a track record of success that can impact their programs, and to rely on us when needed. They have great talent at these companies, but sometimes they just need an extra set of hands, a different mindset. Diversity of thought is a gift, and I think that we can bring that to the table. The other advice that I think about giving companies is, and I actually don't think this is unique to just small companies or large companies. It's companies in general in the life science industry. Is we see companies fail often by exaggerating commercial potential. So, we see their pitch decks or they present their business opportunity for a particular therapeutic, and they're just not taking into account pricing and reimbursement dynamics. The competitive marketplace, what is, maybe manufacturing challenges that cause delay and bottlenecks, which can be a huge problem. Maybe they aren't paying attention to industry trends as much. And we've talked about some of disruptive technologies that could, make some of their therapies or products obsolete, like AI. You got to have to be really careful about and what that's going to make an impact. And we talked about the CDMO challenges as well. So I think for truly innovative, not just me too or follow-on products in their pipeline or follow-on therapeutics, for innovative therapies and solutions, they have to leave plenty of time, allow for a lot of time for mistakes to occur, and really not overpromise and underdeliver with their employees, their boards, their investor base in order to maintain credibility. And if they do that and they have that level of transparency, I think it's going to set themselves up for success in order to minimize risk of the business, but put them in a position where they can be a leader in their particular space. We have amazing talent in Europe, and a lot of our sponsors in Europe are trying to get products approved in the United States. And that's a big reason why we've expanded globally. We have domain expertise that have experience doing both, getting products, developing products, locally, getting approved, and then trying to figure out how they expand in different global markets. They want to understand the European regulations and CE marks and MAA, and how do you work through some of these dynamic challenges that are occurring that may be unique MDR just to Europe. And then the opposite is also true. They've lived in an environment where they've only developed or gotten products commercialized in Europe, and they're now entering this new world of United States regulation and FDA. We are really fortunate because we've had teams and programs and sponsors, and we've worked on both sides. And that gives us, I think, a competitive advantage when we're trying to work alongside sponsors and help them navigate the complexities of new geographic regions. Last thing I'll say is, when I look at the rest of 2025, I am extremely energized and excited about what disruptive therapies and technologies are going to come out. I think we're going to see, I hope, and I think the markets are saying this, that the markets are going to continue to improve from the capital side. People are going to be pouring money into new solutions and therapeutic areas. And I'm excited for those companies that are unlocking their potential. Maybe they've been just really struggling to get to that next Series A, Series B, or Series C. But once that powder that has been sitting there gets unleashed, we're going to see amazing things. And I think that's good for everyone. We're going to see increased employment from the economic side. But most importantly, it's all about patients. And if we can find disruptive technologies that can impact patients and save their lives and help their prognosis much earlier, we want to be a part of that. That is why we exist. That is why our employees come to work every single day, because patients deserve better. And I'm excited for those companies, but also because Kymanox is the co-pilot helping fly those planes. So I can't wait to see what's in store. And I'm really excited about what the future holds the rest of this year. I wanted to thank you all for your time today and spending time with me as I kind of reflect on where we've been and what we're going to see moving forward. And we really look forward. If you're a sponsor or client out there, we look forward to continuing our relationship. And if you're thinking about using us in the future, we look forward to developing a relationship with you. And for those just listening that are not a sponsor or client, just interested in this talk, thanks for your time today. And we look forward to our next podcast together.
That was Evan Edwards. For more information on Kymanox, head over to Kymanox.com. That's Kymanox.com. Thank you so much for listening to or watching this episode of Life Science Solutions. Please subscribe or follow this podcast in your favorite podcast app, or follow Kymanox on LinkedIn for all updates. This episode was edited and produced by Earfluence. We'll see you again soon on Life Science Solutions.